Benvinguts i benvingudes a la última sessió de les Jornades tecnologies, lingüístiques i lliures en català. Avui parlarem sobre el Mycroft i els detalls. Welcome everyone to the last session of Open Technologies in Catalan, linguistic technologies in Catalan, and today we will speak about the details of the development and localization of Mycroft. Today we are going to do the session in English because we have a colleague of ours, Casimiro Ferreira, who did a lot of work. In general, he is a contributor to the Mycroft code base, but in addition to that, he did a lot of work in Catalan, in the localization process of Catalan. He had prepared us very detailed exposition of how the process is, and then on top of it, as developers, how can we contribute and how can we extend Mycroft in Catalan. So I would give the word to Casimiro, and we start the session, and hopefully at the end we will have ample time for discussion to see how we continue as a community, hopefully, of developers. So thank you again for coming, Casimiro, for preparing, and on top of it, for doing all the work and giving all the help to us in preparing and localizing Mycroft. So I give the word to you.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. In the Mycroft community, I am known as Jarbas. I have been contributing to Mycroft since 2016, and today we are going to learn a little bit about what Mycroft is. So what is Mycroft? Mycroft is a voice assistant, and it is free and open source. It will respect your privacy because its business model is not about saving your data like Google or Amazon. It does not save all your recordings. It does not try to sell you anything. It is open source, which means that anyone can check the source code and verify that it does what it says it's doing. So it cannot spy on you without you knowing, because someone would see that in the code. The license is very permissive. It is licensed as an Apache tool, which means that anyone can take the Mycroft code and create their own product. So if you are a company, you can make a new robot from yourself or a chatbot. And it's completely legal to just sell it or do whatever you want. It is free and open source in the real meaning of the word. You can personalize it and do everything you want with it. So well, one example of another company that is built on top of Mycroft is Chatterbox. Chatterbox is an online skill builder. There is a Blockly interface. You open it on the web, and you can build skills for Mycroft. This is meant for kids to use, and by default, it does not know how to do anything. It will just create Mycroft skills, abilities on real time for Mycroft. It is never listening, only if you push the button, and it's very private, and it's the only voice assistant that can be used in schools because of this reason. Another project that also uses Mycroft is Plasma Big Screen. This is an operating system that runs on a Raspberry Pi 4, and it's meant for smart TVs. So there is an OS you can just download. You can burn it to a Raspberry Pi image, and then you can control it by voice. In this screenshot here, you can see one of the skills I made for Big Screen, which has some sci-fi movies that you can watch. In Big Screen, you can just use your voice to control the TV. So you can do voice search, so you can go to YouTube. You can do anything that Mycroft does because it is using Mycroft in it. Another project that uses Mycroft is the Open Voice OS. It was previously known as Mycroft OS and was made by a community member. This is a dedicated operating system that runs on Raspberry Pis and other low-end hardware, and it is meant for end users. So It is very specialized, it's lightweight, and it comes with the full Mycroft stack. You can see more in the links. I forgot to say that, but there are links to all these projects here and again in the end of this presentation. Another project made on top of Mycroft is Neon Gecko. Neon Gecko is a fork of Mycroft core, and they run mostly on servers. So you can copy a little bit of HTML, and you will have a Mycroft chat in your page, like it shows here. You can also connect their Android app to Mycroft, which is running on the server, and talk to it. All these projects are built on top of Mycroft. What this means is that if you help Mycroft by creating a skill or by translating it to a new language, you are helping all of these projects. Como funciona? How does Mycroft work? So Mycroft is not always listening. It is recording your audio, but it's only checking for the wake word. So you can be safe that it won't be sending your voice to the servers all the time, because only when it hears its name, so when you say, hey, Mycroft, it starts listening. And after that step, then you can say a command to it. But if you are speaking with someone in your house or anything like that, you can be safe because Mycroft is not listening. Again, Mycroft is open source, so you can check the code and verify this is working. If you were talking about Siri or Google or Alexa, you don't know if this is happening or not. There is no way to check. In here, you can be absolutely sure that your privacy is guaranteed. So first you say, hey, Mycroft, its name, and only after it hears its name, it will start recording what you are saying. And when it detects silence, which means that you stopped speaking, then that audio will be processed and it will decide what to do next. In Mycroft, this is what we call an utterance. So it's what you speak is an utterance. So an utterance can be anything. So when you talk to Mycroft, whatever you say to it, that is what we consider an utterance. But Mycroft doesn't understand the audio directly. If you make a skill, an ability, how does Mycroft know what to do? So the step to process this utterance, the first step is to turn it into text in a way that the machine itself can understand. And for that, we start using speech to text. So speech to text is the recording after you say the wake word that will be turned into text. Nowadays, this is very heavy for the hardware, so you can't run it on device most of the times. There are some projects that allow this, but they are not very good in accuracy. So usually what happens is that recording, after you say the wake word, will be sent to the cloud. So in that part, in the cloud, there is a better hardware, so a GPU probably, and then it will send the text back to the device. So to have Mycroft working in Catalan, this means we need to get a speech-to-text engine that will work also in Catalan. In the cloud, the default option is the engine from Mycroft. This will give you some extra privacy because your voice does not go to Google directly. First, it goes to the Mycroft servers, and then from the Mycroft servers, it will be sent to Google. This means that Google thinks it's always the same person sending the recordings. It doesn't know it is you. If for some reason you don't want to use Mycroft, you can just do it directly to Google. There is a plugin that I made that uses the Google Chrome API. This is the same API that the browser uses. So if you are on Google Chrome, this is what is processing your speech to text. For this reason, it is free because essentially it makes Mycroft pretend it is a browser. As I was saying earlier, when you say the wake word, then Mycroft starts recording. And after that, it will record the full audio and send it to the servers and get the answer back. this means it can be a little bit slow. So the best thing to do is to get a speech-to-text engine that supports streaming. What does streaming mean? It means that when you start speaking, the audio is already being sent to the servers. So you don't have to record everything and send everything only after you stop speaking. This makes it so that Mycroft will answer you much faster because you get the response faster. All of these still require you to trust someone, either the Mycroft servers or the Google backend or any other engine that we can add later. But there are starting to appear some options that can run offline. A very well-known one is Deep Speech. Deep Speech is from Mozilla, and nowadays it can already run on a Raspberry Pi if you use the streaming version. I think there already exist Catalans in models in Catalan, but I am not sure, and there is no plugin for that in Mycroft yet. We have an option that is Caldi. In this case, it is the Vosk plugin, which I also made, and this one can run on the device. It can run on a Raspberry Pi, on an Android, on a laptop. So it's very lightweight, but the accuracy is not very good. What does this mean? So if Mycroft only understands you 80% of the time, for a voice interaction, that is too much, because how many times will you say, hey, Mycroft, turn off the lights before just getting up and do it yourself? So you want it to work at the first time, so you need very good accuracy. For this reason, Caldi and Pocket Sphinx, which is another option, are not yet ready for general purpose speech to text. One area where this is obvious is when you try to play music, for example. It just won't understand you very well because those are not common words. So there is a Catalan model for deep speech, and I think there is no plugin for Mycroft. There is one plugin. It's not a plugin; it's part of Mycroft core itself that allows you to run deep speech in a server. So you can use the model that is now in the chat. There is a link, and you should also be able to use deep speech. It suffers from the same problem of accuracy as Caldi and others, and we need more data to make it work. It is very hard to train a speech-to-text model. Google and such can do it because they spy on you. They get all your data. But because Mycroft does not spy on you, they don't collect all your recordings, it's hard to create a corpus to train a good engine, even for deep speech. One way that everyone can help is by sending your voice to a common voice from Mozilla. If we build a data set where everyone can send utterances to that data set, then we can get a private speech-to-text engine that will run on the devices for everyone. So after the speech-to-text, you have the text, but what do you do with text? How does the machine understand you? For that, we have that's what we call an intent. So when you say turn off the lights, tell me a joke, there is an intention. So when you say tell me a joke, you want an answer to a joke. But how do you understand that from text? So Mycroft uses two different engines for this, two different approaches. The first one is keyword based. This is adapt. Well, you will use rules. So if you say hello, this is a keyword. World, this is another keyword. And you can just say, okay, if both those two keywords are in the utterance I just said, this is an intent. The second approach, which is more recent, is using Padacious. Padacious is based on neural networks, and it will learn from a corpus. So you give it examples of the utterances, and it will learn by itself what those utterances mean. There are advantages to each of these approaches, because with Adapt, you can define the rules you want. You can say any number of keywords, the order they appear in the utterance does not matter. There can be much more text in the utterance, and it will still trigger if the rule is well designed. In the case of Padacious, since it learns from the text, you need to give it some examples, but you don't have a lot of control of the way it works. Maybe you need to give it more samples, or Or if you say something more than what was on the examples, then it will have trouble understanding. In the case of adapt, it will understand too much, because if you just put some word in there and then you say more stuff besides that, it will not understand. It will always trigger anyways. So here is an example. If you say, hello, how are you? It will detect the hello, and that will use a skill. It will ignore the how are you that you said after that part. So we decide what is the intent from these rules, so we know what Mycroft wants to do. But to do that, you need to have skills. What is a skill? A skill is like a plugin. It's a module that you download to Mycroft that teaches it to do something. So let's say you make a skill for the IP address. Well, what is your IP address? That will be parsed by the speech to text. You will get an intent that is the IP address intent. Then you need to actually have code that will react to that, get the IP address and speak it. So the power of Mycroft comes from these skills. You can download any number of skills, create your own, and personalize Mycroft. Let's say you wanted to make a smart fridge in your kitchen. You would make a skill that would detect that could detect what is inside your fridge. You could ask it. So what is on my fridge? Do I need to buy milk? Do I still have beer? So you can get Mycroft working for any purpose in any project you want just by adding skills. Mycroft is handling everything you need, from the speech to text to the intents and to the text to speech, which we will talk next. You just need to create skills, and you have a special purpose Mycroft to do only what you want. This can also be used, for example, for a chatbot that will talk to you just about mental health or any other topic you want. So once these skills do execute the code for what they want to do, the Mycroft still needs to speak. It needs to tell you the response. So in this case, it is easier than with speech to text to train. We can use a smaller corpus because it doesn't need to understand all the voices and all the accents. So it will be easier to have a good engine for text to speech. And there are more options which will run offline, and there are some other options which will also need to run on the cloud. By default, Mycroft has what they call mimic one, which is on device and offline. That is based on Festival. It does not work in Catalan, but you can use another one for that. There is also Mimic 2, which is based on Tacotron, and that one is running on the Mycroft servers. So you can use it for free. It comes with Mycroft. You don't pay anything for it. You only need your device to be paired and have an account. Okay, so when you are making a skill and want Mycroft to answer, it is always good practice to first acknowledge that you understood. So you don't want just to execute the code and not tell the user about what you're doing. So if you want Mycroft to open your door, you have a skill that says open the garage door. You don't want the door just to open. You want Mycroft to confirm you. Okay, I am opening the door now. This is always good practice to have in there. And to make sure that the Mycroft understood you, it's also a good practice to repeat back to the user what it said. So using this example, hey, Mycroft, open the garage door. It should answer you. Okay, I am opening the garage door. This allows you to correct it if it makes a mistake. Let's suppose it did not understand garage door and was opening a different door. You could correct it after that. So what options do we have for text to speech? A very old one and very simple is SPEAK. SPEAK works by joining several pieces of sounds. It sounds very robotic, but it's very fast. So it can work almost anywhere, and depending on the device you are using, this might be your only option. SPEAK is also good because it is very fast and supports lots of languages, almost every language is supported by ESPIC. Even Latin is supported. A better option is Festival. Mimic One, the default voice, offline voice from Mycroft, is based on Festival. It's a fork. This also runs offline. So you can run this on device. It is fast enough. What do I mean by fast enough? You want Mycroft to speak, and imagine you have to wait for the audio to be created. How long are you willing to wait? If the audio takes 5 seconds, festivals should take more or less also 5 seconds to create it. So it's also a good practice to not use long pieces of text. There is also a Docker file from the group of Soft Català, and I made a plugin for it. This is running Festival, so if for some reason you cannot install Festival on the device you are running Mycroft, this would be a better option. Other online service that we can use, Voice RSS supports Catalan also. You need to make an API key, but it is free for personal use. I have not tested it. I can't tell if it sounds good or not, but I think it's okay, more or less in line with Festival engines. Then we have Catotron. Catotron is based on Tacotron and is the best voice that you can get. It sounds very realistic, and we will see a video soon about it. It is very realistic, but it is also very heavy to run on a device. You cannot run it in any device unless you have a very strong GPU. For this reason, you should be running it on a server. So even on a server, you can use a CPU, but it will be really slow. It is very recommended that you have a GPU. I made a plugin for it, which is using the demo instance of Catotron from Collectiva Group. And the only problem there is that it also runs on CPU, so it will take a long time to give you an answer. For that reason, it's not yet ready to be used in every device. There are some things you can do to improve this speed. For example, if you are saying something that Mycroft already said before, you can save the audio. That way, the next time it will be faster because it doesn't need to create the audio from scratch. So now that we saw all the steps and how Mycroft works, we should say, how do we install it? So depending on your platform, there are different options to install Mycroft. The Mycroft team has been playing around with different ways to package Mycroft. So the Mark one uses an app repository in Debian. It's not an official one, and in most places you can install it that way. Recently, a snap package was created, which will allow you to just install it from the command line, really simple. But from the chat of Mycroft, from the Mattermost chat, it seems that it doesn't work very well. There's lots of people with problems, so it is not ready. It's official, but it's still beta, and so I would not recommend to use the snap package. If you are an Arch Linux user, you also have a package, but it's not official. And sometimes there also come users asking for help because it's not working well. So this one is not official. We don't know who is behind it or if it's even safe to use. So I would not recommend to use any of these approaches, but instead to follow the instructions on the Mycroft GitHub. For that, it's also very simple. First, you would git clone to download the source code. And this will also mean that you will have the latest code. You want to be using an old version. And then you just need to run a small script in there. This script will ask you some questions when you run it. So it will ask you if you want to run on the stable branch or on the development branch. Almost always you will want to run on the development branch because that will have more features in there. It will ask you some other things, like if you want to install helper scripts to use other abilities from Mycroft in the command line, and if you want to build Mimic. Mimic is that voice I told you based on Festival, but only works in English. So you will want to answer no to almost every question this asks you. It may take a while to install everything, but should be fairly easy and not need any interaction from your side. This will create a Python virtual environment. so it will not interfere with your system packages. So how do we start Mycroft core? To start Mycroft, there is a script that is provided, and you just run that script. If you want to test from the command line, you can pass the debug flag. If you pass the debug option, it will open this. You can see in the second screenshot, which is a command line interface. This is very helpful when you are developing because you can see all the logs of Mycroft going on in here. So this will show you exactly what is happening or if there was some error. So for developers, this is a recommended way for you to run Mycroft. If you just have it installed on a device, you'll want to run the start Mycroft script without this debug option, and it will launch all the services and just stay running on the background. So as I said earlier, Mycroft uses their backend. The backend is used for a few things. So one of the things it does is have the mimic to text-to-speech engine, which is a voice based on Tacotron, which also only works in English. So you won't be using that, but it's one of the functionalities of the backend. Other things it does is it allows you to configure your devices from a single place. So when you use Mycroft for the first time, you need to connect it to the backend, and this will allow you to set the location of Mycroft, because the backend needs the location for what? It needs to know where you are to say the correct time, because otherwise it does not know the time zone. And if you ask for the weather, you also need to, Mycroft also needs to know your location, because it needs to know where you are to give you a correct prediction. There are two API services that Mycroft provides, which is Open Weather Map and Wolfram Alpha. For this, you need API keys, but if you are using the Mycroft backend, they do it for you. So you don't need to create an account. This gives you some more privacy because they don't know who is making the requests. The same thing happens with the speech to text. With the speech to text, going to Mycroft, as I said earlier, Google will think everything is coming from the same place. When you install a different skill, there is also an option that you can use as a developer, which is the skill settings meta. By using this, it will automatically generate some menus on the backend that you can use to configure that skill for your device. So, for example, if your skill needs an API key for an external service, you can set it in there, or any other configuration option that you want to include there. So you have total freedom to get configuration options in there, and the Mycroft backend will give a user interface for the users to be able to configure it very easily. So once you start Mycroft the first time, it will tell you that it needs to be paired with the device or with the Mycroft backend. It will give you a pairing code, which is just a few letters, and you need to go to home.mycroft.ai, click the Add Device button, enter the initial configuration. You need to enter all these. As I said earlier, you need to get your location in there. And the pairing code and some other information. Then it will also allow you to choose some voices and different wake words. So this can all be configured offline in the device directly without using the backend, but you have to get all these fields in this tab to activate Mycroft. So what if you do not want to use the Mycroft backend? It is also possible to run completely offline. So for this, there are a few approaches that you can use. You can go to the configuration and just to turn the things on one by one. So you can use the speech-to-text offline if you choose a speech-to-text engine that works offline. The same for text-to-speech and so on. But this will still require Mycroft to be paired to the backend, even if you are not using it. Instead, you can get the official backend and run the full backend. It is also open source, so you can run it on your house or anywhere. But it will not run on the Mycroft device. So you still need a server for this. It is a little complex, and I would not recommend you use it unless you are, for example, a company. If you are a company and you have users that are buying your devices, you can also use the Mycroft backend. Another option is to make a fake backend. So before they open source the original backend, I created a mock backend. So I just watched for the network calls and made a script that pretends to be the backend. This will not give you the web interface, so you will lose all that configuration that I was talking about first. But the device will think it's connected without being connected, and it will be running fully offline on the device. You don't need to set up a server in your house or anywhere. The device will think it's connected, but it's not. So this is another option, and I have also made a skill that will install this for you. So you can configure it on the device or just install a skill to do it automatically. So how do we get skills in Mycroft? By default, it comes with some skills. It can do some things like you can ask what's its name, you can ask the IP address, you can ask what is the weather like, set an alarm for tomorrow, or set a timer for 5 minutes. You can ask it for some jokes, but there's only a few abilities. The best place to get more is in the official Mycroft marketplace. All the skills in there that you can see uh, have been reviewed by the Mycroft team. You know that they are not malicious, there is no malware in there, because there is a strict approval process to get your skills here. So you can be safe. Rest assured that this will not be spying on you or doing anything. You still should evaluate each skill individually, and that there are different levels of quality. So some skills might trigger too much and capture the utterances. You might not want to use them. So I always recommend that you check the skills and see what they do. So let's say you click here on the ISS tracker skill. It will show you what kind of stuff it can answer. So the utterance you can say, and have a small description of what it does. On the side, it will tell you what devices it can work on. So I can make some skill that will only work on the Mark 1 or on the Mark 2, or maybe only on the desktop. So this is important information that you should check before installing a skill. For Catalan users, you want to notice what it says here in supported languages. So this means what language the author of the skill translates. If it's not here, Catalan, then you will need to translate the skill yourself. So the skills that appear here on the Mycroft marketplace, all of these skills, they can also be installed by voice. One of the default skills of Mycroft is integrated with the backend, so you can just say, hey Mycroft, install the ISS tracker skill, and it will install it for you. So how do we translate a skill? Officially, Mycroft has the endpoint, translate.mycroft.ai, and all the skills in the marketplace will get the files uploaded here. So anyone that wants to contribute to translating Mycroft can come here, open one of these files, and translate all the examples. Then Mycroft will automatically make a pull request to the original GitHub of those skills with the translations made for your language. So you should check these often and see if there is a new skill to translate. This is the best way to translate Mycroft because it will help you. It will help everyone. So everyone will benefit from your translation. Only the skills on the marketplace are here. So if you have a skill on GitHub that is not on the marketplace, you will need to make a pull request manually to translate it. So how do we install the skills? So if the ones are on the marketplace, you can install them by voice, as I said, or you can use the command line with the skill name, and it will also search the marketplace. Mycroft has a command line utility, which is called the Mycroft Skills Manager, so MSM, that is done to manage all your skills. You can do a MSM install and a GitHub URL, and it will install that skill. You can get the name, and it will search on the marketplace, and you can also list all the skills. This will show you the skills that are installed, and will also show you what skills are available on the marketplace. So this is the easiest way to install Mycroft skills, and it will also install any requirements that the skill has. So for your skill, you might need an additional Python package. And if you tell the end users that they need to install more packages, they will often forget about it or do some mistakes. So this way you can automate the full process. You just need to have a requirements.txt file, and everything will be installed automatically when you use this tool. This is the recommended way to get any skill working for Mycroft. So how do we get Mycroft in Catalan? There is that configuration file, which I talked earlier, that the backend handles, but the backend does not yet support changing language. So you will have to do this manually. There are several places where you can find this configuration. There is the default one that comes with the code base. There is one for the device level that's on /etc/mycroft/mycroft.conf. And there is the user configuration. The user configuration is the one you want to edit because all the other ones can be replaced at any time and are not meant for the end users. So you will want to change this file. To work in Catalan, there are several things we need to do. First, we want to change the language, the global language. So this is the language, the language code. You should always use the 4-letter language code, not 2 letters. So don't put just K in there, you need to put KS. And this will be used for some things. First, it will be used to load the resource files from Mycroft core itself. There are some default dialogues that Mycroft will speak that are on the Mycroft core, which are not part of any skill, and they will fail to load without it. Those are dialogues for simple things, mostly for the pairing stuff, or if there is a big error. So there are some files in there. They're not very important, but they will fail to load. The second step is to get the speech to text. And in this example, I'm using my Chromium speech to text plugin, but if you don't get this option in here, it will just use the Mycroft backend. And the backend should support almost every language because it is also using Google. However, it's not officially supported, so it may stop working later. For that reason, I recommend that you configure a speech-to-text manually until Mycroft officially supports another language. For text-to-speech, right now I recommend you use Festival because it's the most private one. It works offline, and it's fast enough, doesn't sound too bad. As I said earlier, there is more options like Speak, which is robotic, and Catatron. Catatron I do not recommend yet, just because it's so slow. So if you have a good GPU, maybe use Catatron. It is the best sounding, but it's too slow for a real-time voice interaction. Some of the Mycroft skills do not support Catalan, so this is hopefully temporary and should work sometime soon. But right now I recommend that you blacklist these 4 skills. And the reason is, so the joke skill only has English jokes. Even if you can trigger the joke, so if Mycroft understands when you say, tell me a joke, it will not have any jokes to speak, so it will give you an error. The DuckDuckGo skill does not support any other language, it's only English, so it will also never work, but can conflict with your other skills, or at least introduce some delay to the whole thing. The Wolfram Alpha is here, but it is supposed to support other languages because it uses Google Translate real time. However, currently there is a bug in the skill, so if you have it installed, Mycroft will always be telling you that an error happened in the Wolfram Alpha skill. So for that reason, I also recommend you blacklist it for now. So besides, another option that Mycroft has is the nap time skill. You can tell Mycroft, hey Mycroft, go to sleep. And if you do this, it will stop listening to the speech to text. Instead, it will listen for another wake word, which is wake up. So if you say Mycroft, go to sleep, it will not work again until you say, hey Mycroft, wake up. So that is the one wake word that you will need to translate, to say desperta, in the case of Catalan. For this example, I used Snowboy, which is also another plugin that I made, because it is very lightweight and relatively accurate. So you can configure it to use this wake word, and then you should be able to use Mycroft fully in Catalan, uh, assuming you translated all the skills already. I made a very detailed guide, step by step. This is oriented for developers, so it goes into a lot of detail about many things, but you should not really need to do most of those steps if you just want to get it working. If you are translating, I recommend you read this. It is very extensive. I am still doing some improvements, but it talks about everything you need to know about translating Mycroft. So let's say you want to make a skill now. Uh, how can you do it? So um, there is a tool that Mycroft created, which is Mycroft Skills Kit. This works on the command line, and this should be an animated file, which seems to not be working, showing you how it works. Okay. So the Mycroft Skills Kit, you can use it on the command line, and it will create a template scale for you. It will ask you some questions, like the sample utterances and some sample dialogues, and it will generate all the files for you. Then you can go in there and improve it. It doesn't allow to make complex skills, but it will allow you to, to have all the templates in there. So you just need to go on that stuff. You don't need to worry about the syntax. Um, so I personally don't use the Mycroft skills kit most of the times. I just copy the hello world skill and start from there. The hello world skill has lots of code comments. It is really meant as a template for newcomers, and it is an official skill by Mycroft. So I usually just copy paste this skill folder to the skills folder of Mycroft and start from there. The Mycroft skills are installed in /opt/Mycroft skills. So I will write it in the chat. All the skills are in that folder. A skill is just a folder which will contain some language resources and the actual code. So if you create a folder there, you have started creating a skill. It will be loaded automatically. Mycroft will also automatically reload a skill if it detects any changes. So if you are developing and have the skill there, every time you do something, the skill will be reloaded. So you can test real time. So in here, I have an example of a modified hello world skill to show you what the skill looks like. So first you will just import the intent stuff, the intent package. In this case, the intent builder is from adapt, and the Mycroft skill class. So when you start a skill, you can do some stuff on initialization, finish setting up, but the part that really matters is how do you make an intent. So for that, we have a decorator. This thing here is called intent handler. You just put this on top of any function that you have in there, and it will become an intent. The things inside these decorators is the files that will be loaded to make the intent. So in this case, you can see we have here a local folder with some resources in Catalan and in English. If a single one of these is missing, the skill will fail to load. So you need to have all the files for the skill to be fully translated and load. You can't just translate one of them. You need to translate them all. So usually when you make a skill, it will just be a few dialog files, which is what Mycroft will speak, a few .voc files, which are word examples for use by the adapt intents, and some .intent files. The .intent files are just examples of the utterances that you want to trigger the skill. And in that case, you just put the name in here. So to make the intents, as I mentioned earlier, there are two approaches, which is Padacious and Adapt. In the case of Padacious, it will have just some examples, and you can define variables to be captured. So in this example here, this thing between the curly braces can be anything you want, and it will be captured. So this will become available on your intent in the message data. So you can access any variable from the utterance in the skill and do what you want with them. You can also pass any variables at runtime to the dialog files. So if you see here this dialog, this part here will be replaced by something generated from the code in here. Uh, there are two methods that you can use to speak in a skill. The most common is the speak dialog, which will load a dialog file. But you can also just use the speak method, so without the dialog part, just self.speak, and that will just speak the text that is written in the code. This makes it hard to translate, so I recommend you always use the speak dialog. If you are using adapt, then you need to define some rules. For this example, I have here the keyword for hello and another keyword for world. This intent is a very simple rule. It must contain hello. That's the only rule. So whatever you say to Mycroft, if this word is in there, then this intent will trigger. There is here an optionally rule, which means that this word is optional there. But if this word is also there, it will increase the confidence of the intent. It is not necessary, but it will make it more likely to trigger. If there are several rules that match, it will choose the one that uses more words. So if I have another intent which just has hello, this one, because it has world, will be selected instead. So the more keywords that are detected, the higher the confidence for that intent. In the speak dialog files, it will not speak everything here, it will choose one randomly. So every time it speaks, it will say something a little different. This is good to introduce some variation, so it's not as repetitive and makes for a more natural interaction with Mycroft. So when we are designing skills, we should try to support more languages from the start. As I mentioned earlier, we should always use the dialog files. Let's not use the self-speak method because that is very hard to translate. Someone will need to change the code and send a pull request. It could not be made automatically from the marketplace. So I recommend you never use this. As I showed earlier, we can capture variables with Padatius, but Adapt also supports that with regular expressions. I do not recommend that because it's hard to translate. If you go to the translate platform for Mycroft, you see these regex files, you do not know what they are doing, and you don't know what rule they are a part of. So for that reason, I recommend that if you need a variable, you use Padatius. This will make it easier for everyone else to translate. So a good skill will just have a local folder with everything related to language in here. So another component of Mycroft, and this is probably the one that is harder to translate, is Lingua Franca. Lingua Franca is a library that allows Mycroft to understand text. This is not done with resource files, this is actually done by code. So you need to go in there and translate everything. Every language is a little different, the rules are not universal, so it is also hard for someone to support all the languages. We need the native speakers. So this one has already been translated to Catalan because of Joan. Thank you very much. And should be ready anytime soon. So it has already been approved in Lingua Franca. It should be merged soon. Then there will be a new release of the Lingua Franca library. And after that, we still need to wait for Mycroft to update to use that new version of the library. So right now, you can't really use this without doing some things manually. That's all in my guide on GitHub that I talked about earlier. But it should go into the main code base of Mycroft very soon. So what does Lingua Franca do? So first of all, it allows you to speak things. If you have some number that you want Mycroft to speak, you can be sure it will speak it correctly, and it will turn that into text. So one of the big methods is the pronounced number method, which allow you to say any number. Another one is the extract date, is the nice time or a nice date time. There are a few of these methods. So if you have a date time object in Python and you want to make it pronounceable, you will want to use these methods in here. There are several configuration options, so it can be done for speech, or just for text. So let's say you want to display it on the screen. Maybe you want to use this one instead. So if the day is tomorrow, this one can also say tomorrow instead of getting you the correct date. This is the formatting utilities. So they are meant for speech. The parse module, this one is meant to understand speech, so to create code objects. The most important one is extract date time. So if you are talking to Mycroft and say, set an alarm for tomorrow, what does tomorrow mean? This is the method that will be used to understand that. It will take the word tomorrow and transform it into a date time object. This is one of the hardest to translate, and is currently a little bit out of sync in Lingua Franca. Some languages have it very good, others not so good. So it will keep improving over time, we hope. But you can say things like next year, or in 100 days, or 3 days after tomorrow. It should be able to understand you and give you a date time object. Besides the date time, it also gives you the leftover text. The leftover text allows you to get the actual command. If you want to say, remind me to go to the dentist tomorrow. So you want the date to be tomorrow and the text to just have the other part. So to go to the dentist. This is very useful to set alarms and reminders. And it's the main use case of the Lingua Franca library. Another big one is about extracting numbers. So if you are speaking, there are several ways to say numbers. You can say 1.2 or 1,0, 1.0. There are several ways to say numbers. This library tries to understand them all. So when you have any text in there, it will just give you a number that you can use. This will be very useful, for example, if you want to give options to the user. If you are making a skill and want Mycroft to ask you, do you want to select option 1, option 2, or option 3? You can use this method to parse the response that Mycroft gave you and use a number. This one is also a little bit tricky because, at least in English, there are some double meanings. So if you say the third, what does it mean? The third thing, you know that's number 3. But third could also mean 1 divided by 3. So this is all stuff that can be controlled by this library, but it needs to be you, in your skill, to decide what's the correct method to use. Do you want to consider these numbers a fraction or a full number? So for essentially every number, for 3 or more, you will have this problem, and you will have to decide this when you are making the skill. I will not get into details about how to translate this because it has already been translated, but you will be able to find more details in the guide that I have on GitHub. So now I would like to show you a video where all of this is working. If you give me just a second. Joan made a favor to record me a video using Mycroft in Catalan. This one will be using the festival text-to-speak engine that I spoke about earlier. And you will see some of the limitations that we are currently facing also with Lingua Franca.
Ei, Mycroft, quina hora és?
Les 8:47.
Ei, Mycroft, quina data és avui?
Torstany, de Sant Beten, 20, d'avui en 0 segons dies.
In here, you can see that it did not replace the dates yet. This is because lingua franca was not yet fully translated. So in this case, you see that it said the date in English. This is something that will be solved next once lingua franca is properly integrated into Mycroft. It has already been translated, just not deployed yet.
Ei, Mycroft, qui és el president de França?
L'actual president de França és Emmanuel Macron des del 14 de maig de 2017.
Ei, Mycroft, quina és la capital d'Itàlia?
La capital d'Itàlia és Roma, al Laci, Itàlia.
Ei, Mycroft, quina és la capital de Mèxic?
La capital de Mèxic és Ciutat de Mèxic, Ciutat de Mèxic, Mèxic.
Ei, Mycroft, qui és Quim Monzó?
No estic segur de qui és.
Ei, Mycroft, Viquipèdia, Quim Monzó.
Estic cercant a la Viquipèdia sobre Quim Monzó. Joaquim Monzó i Gomes, conegut amb el nom de ploma Quim Monzó Coma, és un escriptor català, autor de novel·les, contes i articles d'opinió, aquests últims en català i en castellà.
Ei, Mycroft, qui és el president de Catalunya?
No sé qui és.
Ni tu ni ningú. Ei, Mycroft, compta fins a 10.
Ho sento, no ho he entès.
Ei, Mycroft, compta fins a 5.
La resposta és la llista 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ei, Mycroft, posa les notícies.
Aquí tens les notícies d'aquesta hora de NPR News 9.
Live from NPR News, I'm Shay Stevens. The Federal Trade Commission and a coalition of states are suing Facebook, alleging the company
Ei, Mycroft,
used its dominance.
posa Catalunya Informació Notícies.
Aquí tens les notícies d'aquesta hora de Catalunya Informació.
Seguim a prop teu.
Catalunya Informació. Mapamundi.
Ei, Mycroft,
Cròniques d'un món convuls.
ei, Mycroft, posa les notícies.
Aquí tens les notícies d'aquesta hora de NPR News 9.
Live from NPR News, I'm Shay Stevens. The Federal Trade Commission and a coalition of states are suing Facebook, alleging the company abused its dominance in social media. NPR's Shannon Bond reports that the lawsuits focus on Facebook's acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp.
The lawsuits
So
accuse
in
Facebook.
this video, you just saw Mycroft working in Catalan. This was using the festival text-to-speech, and you saw some skills going on. You saw the date skill, which was telling what date it was, which used the pronounced date time, the pronounced time from lingua franca. That was not fully translated, and you saw that the output was in English. That's one of the use cases of this library. We also saw Wolfram Alpha and the Wikipedia being used. But Wolfram Alpha does not work in other languages, it is English only. So what was happening in that video is that we were doing automatic translation. In this case, Wolfram Alpha would need an English text. So Mycroft understood in Catalan, used Google Translate to get the text in English, asked Wolfram Alpha, received the answer back, and translated it again to Catalan. So this is not very recommended because it can introduce many errors in translation. These skills are a little hard to translate. So they need to work in English. There is no way to get them working. DuckDuckGo, the instant answers API, also only works with English input. So you will have to translate your queries to English and the responses back to Catalan. In some other skills, like the joke skill, the jokes it's speaking come from a database. So there are no jokes in Catalan in there. Even if it understands you and knows you want a joke, there is nothing it can do. So a simple way that you can do for these cases, it is only in last resort. So you should not be doing all this a lot of time, only if you have really no other option, is to translate the skill automatically on runtime. I have a more detailed template in my GitHub guide, but the basic idea is that you will import Google Translator or any other translation framework. This one just happens to be free and relatively good. And you will translate everything. So if you require an English utterance, you will translate what the user said. If the skill returns an English response, you will translate the response and speak it translated. So in this case, you will use the speak method, not the speak dialog, because there is not a file with the resources. It comes from an online source. If your text needs to be in English before you do something with it, then you will get something from the user utterance and translate it before you do something. So this example here is minimal, but one thing that I recommend is that you use a translation cache. So if you ask the same thing again, you don't need to translate over and over again with Google. Yeah. So some of the skills from Mycroft. So the Mycroft, when it loads, will install any skill from the official skills that is not present. So if you delete the Mycroft skill, it will appear again. So what you need to do is go to your configuration file and blacklist the skills. So this will mean that those skills will not load anymore. And in this way, you will avoid conflicts and can replace them with your own version that will work for you. So in this case, you can see that the new skill was blacklisted because the Catalan is not yet in there. So in the video that you saw with the Catalan newsfeed, that was a different skill that replaced this one. And the same is true for Wolfram Alpha, because the official skill has a bug, which makes that it does not work in other languages. The video is also using an alternative skill. For DuckDuckGo, I also made a new skill that works, and I would like to show you that now. So because I do not speak Catalan, I did this just by text, but you will see the answers coming in Catalan. So the text-to-speech you will hear here is coming from Catotron, but I had already requested it before, so it was cached in order that it would be fast, because otherwise it will take a long time to respond. This that you see here is the official Mycroft key, which is also on GitHub, and is what the Mark II will use, and is also what is already used by Big Screen and the Open Voice OS projects that I talked about. So this is the official way for a skill to show things to the user.
Sepa en William Pau tinguera un físic teòric.
Cosmòleg i autor anglès que va ser director d'investigació del Centre Fort Teoretical Cosmològic de la Universitat de Cambridge en el moment de la seva mort. Va ser professor lucasian de matemàtiques a la Universitat de Cambridge entre el i el. Hawking va néixer a Oxford, en una família de metges. Hawking va començar la seva formació universitària a l'University College d'Oxford a l'octubre de, a l'edat d'anys, on va obtenir un BA en física.
So this skill is one that was replacing the official DuckDuckGo skill, because DuckDuckGo needs both what you say to be in English and returns the answer also in English. So this was using Google Translate, and probably the translation was not very good. The text-to-speech was Catatron, as I said before, and I think this is the one that sounds better, that is free for everyone to use. These are the 4 skills that come with Mycroft that you need to replace for Catalan. Hopefully they will be updated and you will not need to replace them later, but right now to use Mycroft in Catalan, you need to replace them with these skills. So these skills were made by me just to work, and all of them are using the Google Translate real time. So sometimes it will work well, sometimes not so well. This will depend on what you are asking. But right now, these are the only way to use these skills in Catalan is by using those repositories. Wolfram Alpha, DuckDuckGo, and Jokes, those are my versions of the skills made from scratch. So maybe they will not be part of the official skills. But the new skill is just here separately because it has not been merged yet. It should become a part of the official skill sometime soon. So would like to thank you now. I leave here the links to all the things I think are important. So you have the official Mycroft website, the documentation, the marketplace where you can see the skills, the Lingua Franca library that handles the translation. In here you have my step-by-step guide that I go into detail for all the translations. My personal GitHub with several projects. This is a GitHub organization that only includes plugins for language support. So this is the one that will interest you the most. There are speech-to-text engines and text-to-speech and wake word engines that work well with Catalan. And you can see my collection of skills for Mycroft in here. Lots of them are just made for big screen, for Plasma big screen, but others will work everywhere. So this is where you can find me on GitHub. And the other projects I mentioned about, you can see Chatterbox, Big Screen, Open Voice OS, and Neon Gecko in these links. So now I think you should have some questions. Hopefully
I put
didn't
on the camera momentarily, so whomever. Thank you very much, Casimiro, for the presentation. That is very complete and very interesting. And I have questions, but is there anyone who? Kieran.
Sorry. Yeah, I have a question. May I ask? I have several questions from a developer perspective regarding Mycroft. One is about storage from a skills perspective. Is this storage centralized by Mycroft, or is something that every skill has to implement, like a reminders skill? Would that use some central storage from Mycroft that it can be accessed, or is something that each skill has to implement by their own using either files or SQLite or something like that? And can the skill access, let's say, device configuration? Like, I guess you can access the location, stuff like that.
So the main configuration file for Mycroft, the mycroft.conf, which includes the location, the language preferences, and all the things that I was telling you to change earlier, those are all available by skills. In addition, each skill has its own skill settings. Those are private, and only the skill has access to those. So if you want to, for example, in the new skill, you can have a configuration for what news will play by default. By default, it will use the NPR news, but you might want to have it play the Catalan news. So that will be a part of the skill configuration, and only the skill can access it. The other skills cannot. This is also sent to the Mycroft backend, and you can configure it from the backend, and it will get downloaded into the skill. The contents are not sent to Mycroft backend, but you send a list of options. So the backend sends it down. The device does not send it up to the backend. In the case of timers and alarms, there is a method you can use when making skills, which is to add events, to schedule an event, which can be repeating or not. And those are handled internally by Mycroft, are not part of the skill. It's Mycroft itself that will save it in a JSON file on the disk. So if you set an alarm for tomorrow and turn Mycroft off, and then turn it back on again, it will check that, so it will know it needs to fire an alarm. So that's about it regarding storage. But you can always also have your own private storage. For example, if you are afraid that it will be uploaded to the Mycroft backend, you can always use some different place to store that. And Mycroft has some utilities for this. There is a class they call file system access, which will just have a default folder for you to save things in Mycroft. It's just a normal file handler, like from Python. It just gives you a open file descriptor, and you can use that.
Thank you. I have another technical question. Do I understand correctly that all components communicate via the message bus, or is there any direct communication between components?
So all the components are connected to a message bus, which is just a WebSocket. That's a WebSocket that is running locally, and you should not access it from outside Mycroft. So it's just meant to run on a device. All the processes communicate through that, which means that they are also all asynchronous. So you do not need to have the speech to text running if you are running on a server. You just need the skills and the message bus. That's the way everything communicates. An analogy I like to make is that it's like the nervous system where the message travels.
And now that you mentioned a server, because I was just thinking, in order to maybe get the Mycroft in Catalan to be used by more people, I think that currently the setup is you need to be a little bit technical to set it up. And you already spoke about Neon AI that seems to follow an approach where there's a central server and there are devices that communicate with that server. Mm-hmm. Is this something that's can be supported from Mycroft, or is it like?
Yeah, so the message bus, the message traveling there, they have some data in that, some metadata, which is the context. That will allow you to know where the users came from, if you wrote it in a command line or if you spoke it. But as I was saying earlier, the WebSocket is just meant to be used internally. You should not access it from the outside. That's unsecure. There is no encryption, there is no security. And if something connects to the message bus, it can see everything that is happening. So I have made a project, which is the HiveMine. I posted a link in the chat now. And this is like a firewall that you can put on your Mycroft. This will allow you to communicate with Mycroft from an external web server or from anywhere else. It can be on a server, or it can be your Mycroft device or anything like that. And this will allow you to safely interact with Mycroft. So if you were going to use Mycroft on a server, I would recommend that you check this repository in here. That's an organization, and see it working. So I can actually show you a video if you want to see of it working on a Pine. Give me a second to find it. So in this video, the PinePhone is connecting to a Mycroft that is running elsewhere using the HiveMind protocol. The phone only has access to the answers that are directed at it. It cannot listen for the speech to text or anything like that. So this is a security way to interact with Mycroft from elsewhere. In this case, the PinePhone cannot listen for a wake word because it's not powerful enough. So it is using the HiveMind repository for the PTT, which means push to talk, which is like a button, essentially.
All right, I'm recording this on an ancient iPad, which is unfortunate, but it is November 9th. We started on the 7th. I'm pretty pleased with the progress. Jarvis threw together a little HiveMind node that just waits for the equivalent of a button, which is just, at the moment, creating this file. We can't see any of the other good stuff happening because it's a terminal connection from a laptop that's in a different room, but whatever. We're just gonna, there's no wake sound, there's no wake word listener at the moment. This is bare bones. Create this file and talk. What time is it? There's a bit of a delay.
16:05.
There you go. Now about half of that delay is because we've got a lot of ambient noise on a bad quality mic, and the other half is the latency from
So I apologize for the video, but it has low volume in the video itself, so it's really hard to hear. But so the Mycroft was not running on the phone; it was running elsewhere, also in your house, which is the way I recommend doing this. So in my house, I just have a small server, a small device running Mycroft, and I have other devices connected to it. I don't have a video here, but one thing I use is I have a voice satellite. What is that? That is just a Pi Zero with a respeaker hat, and it connects to an external Mycroft. So it does not run Mycroft, but it allows me to trigger intents and have it working everywhere in the house. So it's just this. So it's really small, and I use this as a Mycroft satellite, voice satellite, which I call it. So the HiveMind is like a firewall or a protocol that allows to connect Mycrofts to each other or something like that. So if you were going to do a chatbot, you could get the Mycroft core running on a server, and the HiveMind is like a plugin. So it just needs to run side by side to Mycroft. The Mycroft message bus should stay closed, so protected and not exposed to the external internet. And instead, you will use the HiveMind to expose a connection that is secure to the message bus. So for the HiveMind, it requires API access. So you need to set a key for the device to be able to connect. You need to configure that in the database. And you can also enable encryption. So if you have an encryption key, you can use that. So even if it's HTTP, it will be safe.
Great, thank you.
So to make it clear, although you use it at home in the network, it's possible to put it in any server and use it over the internet. It's safe. That's correct, right?
Yeah, so that is the purpose of the HiveMind. It can run with HTTPS, which is SSL. It requires an access key, and you can also make it encrypt all the messages that are traveling with AES encryption. So in addition, it does message routing. So you only get the messages that are an answer to what you asked. So in this Pi Zero that I showed you, it will not speak the answers that came from the other Mycroft, from other questions. If I speak by voice to Mycroft, the answers are not sent down. So they are routed correctly, and you can spy on other users. So with Mycroft, without this, you can check all the messages from everyone if you connect to the main message bus directly. So I would like just to add that this works on servers, but it also works for a species of mesh networking. So it also has zero configuration. So you can have it just find the Mycroft in your house and connect automatically. But it still needs you to go there manually, register the user, and get the API key so it can access it. If you don't have a valid key, the receiving Mycroft will just block the connection.
John, I was going. Joan and Casimiro, Kieran wanted to say something. Joan, you wanted to talk?
Sorry, yes. I only want to congratulate Casimiro for his help. Muito obrigado. Casimiro, moltes gràcies per la teva ajuda traduint o localitzant Mycroft al català. Moltíssimes gràcies. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all the work, because the Lingua Franca is hard to translate because we need a native speaker. I know how to code, but I could not go in there and translate it to Catalan. So thank you.
I have two questions if there is not anyone who right now. So the first question is related to what Kieran was asking, that we need to find a way that is convenient for people to install Catalan, Mycroft in Catalan, and I think this is a general problem within the Catalan Mycroft community. And I ask you of your experience, Casimiro, about the language support of Mycroft and how do the other communities handle it, what can be an alternative within Mycroft standards and maybe outside Mycroft standards, like putting a fork and coming up with our own image, etc. Any kind of alternative ideas that you might have. But first of all, what are the other communities are doing? If you have experience, we appreciate if you can explain.
So I have not really been involved with other communities about this. I've been involved with Mycroft since the Mark I Kickstarter, and I really didn't explore a lot of the others. I know that Raspberry is also well known and lots of people use it, but I have no idea what they are doing about language support. So about that, I'm sorry, but I can't be of much help.
What I meant was, for example, Mycroft in German. I mean, Mycroft in Portuguese also. I don't know what is the user base. What do they do?
Okay. For German, there are lots of active users. So the Mycroft community is a lot on the Mycroft chat, on Mattermost, and there are some active members in there. So some have trained some deep speech models, both for English, but also for German. And there also been some Tacotron models trained. So German is probably the most active community, I think, from my experience, on the Mycroft community. In regards to shipping Mycroft, so right now the official Mycroft, there really isn't an easy way to translate it. You need to change the configuration, and you need to do it from the command line, because the options for language support are not part of their backend. So I think the best way would be to reach out to Mycroft directly and ask what can be done for them to allow configuring easier the Mycroft. Otherwise, another option would be just to make your own image. So you can get a Raspberry Pi image or something with Mycroft. As I said in the beginning, it's permissively licensed. You can see all these projects that are also built on top of Mycroft. They just include it. So you could have an image that comes pre-configured to the language that you want. So Open Voice OS is also a Raspberry Pi image based on Mycroft. So you can probably ask Jinx, the guy behind it, to just create an image for you, and you can get your configuration in there. I'm not sure the Mycroft will be open or not for having images configured in different languages. That would probably be too much work for them. But The other option is that we organize ourselves and make an image just for Catalan or for any other language. Right now, there's not much that can be done except having detailed guides, so everyone can follow a guide and translate it. So there is my guide and the one from Joan that he posted in the chat, but there is not an easy option to get Mycroft going in Catalan right now.
And you mentioned also the possibility of installing the backend. For example, if we had our, so we would need, for example, it would be best if we had both the images and maybe our also backend. You see that as feasible?
So the Selenium backend is licensed with AGPL, which means that if you fork it, it must also be open source. So so in case of Mycroft, you can change the code and you don't need to open source it. It can be closed source. In the case of the backend, if you use it, and even if you make any changes, the code must be available for everyone to see. If you don't want to do that, you will have to reach out to the Mycroft company and ask about dual licensing. But you can, if you are not changing anything, just using it the way it is, you can just set it up on your own server. The code is free, it's on GitHub. There are instructions in there. So you can just start using it, and you just need to change a place in the configuration file to point to the new URL. That will allow you to have people pairing to your backend. In case if you are a company, this could make sense. If you just want the devices to not interact with the backend because they don't need the functionality, you have the mock backend that I talked about, which is just a fake backend. The device thinks it's connected, but you change the URL to localhost, and it just doesn't connect to anything. The speech to text will be the big problem because that will almost always need to be done outside the device. You can have Caldi or Pocket Sphinx running on device, but it's not very usable. If you only have some skills in there, like to control some lights and some simple things, maybe you can use it. But if you want to play music or have a general purpose conversation, going to Wikipedia, you really need an outside speech to text. And that would be the main reason for you to set up a backend, so you can provide speech to text to your users.
Just a clarification, because we also talked about it in one of the sessions about Caldi. Kieran made benchmarking with Caldi, Google's in Catalan, and the deep speech models that he trained. Caldi is comparable and slightly better than Google. Having said that, it is problematic in a sense, I think, in the lexicon. So I still do think that listening to music would be problematic because the lexicon will be a lot smaller than what Google is running. So in a sense, I mean, I think you're right. But in terms of pure precision, Caldi is very good. So, I mean, there is still way to go, but from a technical point of view, as the motor, the system itself works fine. It's just that we need to find a way to make the vocabulary, the lexicon better.
Yeah, that will be a big problem. It's with what we call out of vocabulary words. For example, even in Google, if you say, "Hey, Mycroft," you will many times just get "Hey, Microsoft" or "I Mycroft." It doesn't really understand those words because it has never seen them before. So that will be a big problem, especially if you want to use Wikipedia or play music. There are many things it will not understand. Google has the advantage just because it saves so much data from other people. So I see a question in the chat and about if Mycroft can ask the user questions and listen back. Yes, you can do this. There are different ways to have continuous dialogue, which I didn't get into because the presentation would be too big. But there is one thing called the get response method. So after the first time you say, "Hey, Mycroft," and use the wake word, you can ask more questions to the user without him needing to ask something. So you can have Mycroft ask a question and listen for the response after he asked it. It will never start listening alone, but it can make a question to you and start listening after that. There is the get response method, which just listens and gives you what the user said next in a variable, so you can continue using it in the intent. And there's a few more helper intents, like there is the ask selection, where Mycroft will say a list of options. And if you say, for example, a number, it will use Lingua Franca to select the correct option. So you can have Mycroft say, do you want option 1, option 2, option 3? And if the user answers 3, it will return that instead. So there are these helper utilities which can be used to continue working, to ask questions to the user. If Mycroft will be bilingual, that is a much bigger problem because the speech to text will only work in one language. So if you are speaking Portuguese with an English speech to text, the text will never be correct. So how can you make Mycroft bilingual with this? This is one of the things that Neon Gecko also tries to solve. They use, I'm not sure if Google or Amazon, but you can have two languages configured for those speech to text engines. And it should be able to detect you and speak in two languages. But after that, Mycroft is still configured only for one language. So you can't really use it if you got text in a different language. What you can do, and which is what I think the Neon Gecko guys do, is translate it, everything you say, regardless of the language you speak, translate it to English, and then go to the intent parsing stage. In that way, you could have Mycroft working in several languages at the same time. But it's not something that Mycroft can do yet. I know that the Neon Gecko guys have been playing with that kind of functionality, and the Mycroft core is somewhat prepared for it because when you say an intent, it gives the language with it. So you should be able to modify things. But the big piece that is missing is the speech to text, because you don't know what language to configure it before. So you can speak in many languages at once. So if you can ask for a song, that's a good example. So if you get one of those Caldi models that we just talked about, it will be only trained on your language. So if you wanted to say the name of a song that's in English, it probably will not transcribe it correctly. This is another advantage of Google because once again, they spy on you and have enough data. So their language model is much bigger and can actually understand it when you mix two different languages. So that is one of the hardest things to solve in this problem, is the mix of more than one language in the same utterance. So playing music in Catalan will probably be one of the hardest things to do, and the one that will take longer to get solved. Why is everyone using Raspberry Pi? For me, it has worked pretty well. So over time, Mycroft has been getting a little better. The code base has evolved, and I don't think the initial Raspberry Pi 3 is very good. So, for example, you can see the Mark 1 is a little slow, but if you go to a Raspberry Pi 4, it works really well for me. In Chatterbox, we use a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, and it works near real time. Most of the CPU usage comes from Precise, which is the default wake word listener. And if you replace that, you should get a better performance in general. I would say that most of the delay comes from the network service. So if you send your voice to the server and it needs to get back, that will take a while. So you should use a streaming speech to text. And in the TTS, the same thing happens. If you are using something on the server, it needs to generate it and send it back again. If you are speaking very long sentences, it will take longer to process, to create the audio for the text to speech. And that is also another latency, that is introduction. But it's not something that having a stronger hardware will solve in this case. So that whole core that it takes is the Precise wake word listener. So it's when it's listening for Hey Mycroft. That's the part that takes most of the CPU. There has been some work in Precise from the Mycroft team, because they have the dev meetings public. You can watch on YouTube their discussions. And the first ones, they have spent a lot of time training new models and preparing the Precise pipeline. And in GitHub, you can see there is a branch, a pull request someone made to use TF-Lite. If you are using TF-Lite, then should be able to take much less CPU to use. If you go to my GitHub, with the plugins, there are some other wake word plugins you can use instead of Precise. So you can use Snowboy, and there's Neo Maya, which is another one, which also is really small. Other options would be Porcupine and Pocket Sphinx. Pocket Sphinx is not very good, it's not very accurate, but has the advantage that you don't need voice samples. You need to go in there and manually configure the phonemes. Maybe that one would work. But that should make it that full core that's always used for the CPU. It's all for Precise. Mycroft itself does not use a lot of CPU power. You can use other intent engines if you want, but they are not part of Mycroft. So you can work around it by making what is a fallback skill. So when Mycroft does not detect an intent, when you speak to it, it goes to what we call fallback skills. Those are general purpose skills that try to answer everything you say. You can make one of those that uses a different intent engine, and then you could add support for other things like Rasa and etc. I made some experiments with that, and maybe I can find the link if you give me some time. I'm not sure if I have it on GitHub. I think so. So Mycroft has been moving to a plugin system, which you have seen already for the speech to text, text to speech, and wake words. And I suppose that intents could be another one, but that is not on the roadmap. I don't know if Mycroft intends to use it or not, to move that to plugins or not. The better way would be a direct integration on the intent system. So right now, all you can do is this sort of hack to make it work, but it's really just that. So the link I'm posting is a node experiment. It's not ready for usage, but should give you an idea of what is needed if you want to get other intent engines without needing to fork Mycroft core and changing everything. No, there is not a list. There's not a plugin marketplace nor a list, but the plugins have been released so very recently, so that there just hasn't been time for that. And all the plugins that exist, you can find at my repository, essentially. There's maybe one or other around. So in the Chatterbox repositories, you can find a plugin to disable the wake word, because Chatterbox only works if you push the button. So you have a plugin in there. But there has been talk in the chat that the idea is to get plugins in the official marketplace for Mycroft. But that's also new that nothing has been done yet, because until now plugins did not exist.
A bit related to that, actually you asked this, Casimiro, so I'm asking to the rest of the community. Now that we have a lot of tools, but mostly plugins, it would be nice to have an organization, an umbrella organizations, which shouldn't be, I mean, which wouldn't be soft català or collectivat, but something else, which we start putting all the repositories related. So that's a bit, you were asking where to put the plugins, right? We have already talked about this. And my idea would be to have them somewhere dedicated to something like Mycroft in Catalan, or I don't know, conversational technologies in Catalan or something like this. I don't know what do the others think. Can we do it? Is it, I don't know, someone needs to administer it so it's work, or I appreciate if anyone has an input about this.
So I created this organization just for this presentation. It didn't exist before, just so I could get my plugins in there to make them easy to find. Ideally, Mycroft itself would provide a place to centralize everything. Because, so for example, if I make a plugin for Google Chromium, like I did one for the Chromium API for speech to text, that will work for every language. So maybe that would not make sense to be only in a Catalan organization. But on the other hand, I also have plugins for Soft Català, for Catatron, and for Cotovia, which is a Galician text-to-speech engine. And maybe those don't make sense to be in Mycroft because Mycroft does not officially support other languages, so maybe it will just be confusing to normal users. But I think an organization would be good just on GitHub, just for Catalan, just for the reason of making things easy to find. Even if it just contains forks of other repositories, that will at least be a central place where you can tell the community to go to look for things only for Catalan. And even the same could be done for skills if you want to. Until now, there hasn't been a lot of community engagement, or at least serious engagement from other languages. And Mycroft has been very English-centric, but that seems to be changing. So this is maybe a conversation that should be have had with the Mycroft team to see if they want to do it upstream.
So Alesh is asking why not doing it in Mycroft upstream. Maybe I'm ignorant with Git and how Mycroft organization works, but we won't be able to start a repo in Mycroft organization, I guess. Because it's an organization.
You need to ask them for authorization. So ideally, I think they would allow that in their marketplace. So like you can get skills in the marketplace after they have been reviewed by the Mycroft team. They could do something similar for plugins. So someone could verify the plugin works, and it could be made there. And it would also be good if there were some tools to install them automatically, like there is for installing skills. That's all work that could be done.
So one last thing about this topic, which is much more interesting and maybe much more speculative, since we have been working on this project from different countries in a sense. Additionally, at the same time, some other things happen, which is Galego is under works in localization. So there's a group for that. And then also the País Vasco Euskaleria is doing localization, but they are not within the community yet, but it seems they are doing development on their own. But today I saw they have messaged me because since a cooperative is involved, they're also interested in getting into the community. So it seems as the Iberian languages, there's community activity, at least currently. So also what you have been suggesting, Casimiro, is to have something that is, I don't know, again, it could be a GitHub organization or something else, having an umbrella thing, which would be Iberian. I mean, for Lingua Franca, I think you were suggesting maybe you should mention that it was mostly related to the translation work to take advantage, since the languages are similar except Euskara in this sense, but there can be many there can be the languages could help each other, and there can be a common organization or common activity. I don't know.
So in Lingua Franca, it's mostly me maintaining it. And I wrote a lot of the code in there. So sometimes Portuguese is ahead of English because of me. And then there is Chance, which is a very active member, which also understands some Spanish. So yeah, has been also helping a bit with that. But there have been people appearing from everywhere, just community contributors. So very recently we also got Slovenian in there, which should make it in the next release together with Catalan. And there definitely helps to have people collaborating between languages that are similar, because in that case the logic can many times just be copy pasted and changing some of the strings in there, which so Portuguese and Spanish are very similar grammatical rules, so the parsers mostly work if you change the text. But if you go to Slovenian, it's completely different. So the word genders, the plurals, the articles, those just the rules are very different, and almost nothing can really be used from the code. And it's also hard to review the changes, because if you are not a native speaker, or if you can't at least understand the language, it's hard to know if the other person is doing it right or not. But Lingua Franca is one of the biggest places where collaboration is needed from developers to help Mycroft understand everyone from everywhere.
Sorry, something I don't really understand is that even who you seem to be very integrated with the whole community and everything, you keep talking about Mycroft in, well, second or third person, which feels a bit weird and even worrying a little bit, as in, why is it that it's still them when we should be working together in this regard? And like, what is the actual barrier?
So good question. So it is their product, so we need like to coordinate with them, because sure, at any time we can just fork Mycroft core if we want. So we could fork it and have our own version, but then the code bases will start getting out of sync, and this will mean, so maybe in Catalan Mycroft will work really well, but then it's those changes are not helping the Slovenian community or the German community. So this, I just say this because I think we are all strong together and need to coordinate. But yeah, we are obviously free to just organize and do our own thing. So Chatterbox is my company, just me and Kevin. We just forked Mycroft and started doing our own thing in there for kids. Big Screen uses Mycroft internally, but it's its own project. It uses the normal Mycroft code base, but it's its own project by the KDE team. Open Voice OS has also talked, is just shipping an alternative distribution. So Nyan Gecko is also another fork of Mycroft. We don't need their permission upstream to do anything, but I think it's always good if we collaborate, just so everyone can benefit, because I think we are stronger together.
No, definitely. Like, working together is always well, paramount in free software, right? But then why does it still need to be them and us instead of we are Mycroft and we are in charge of the Catalan interface of Mycroft or flavor or whatever you call it?
Yes, so the way is that Mycroft is supposed to be language agnostic, so we shouldn't be in charge of Catalan, because Mycroft should be from the world community. So what things would you do for Catalan that will not help other communities? Almost everything that is language specific is in the Lingua Franca repository, which is the code that understands language, and everything else is just language resources. So that's why I keep talking about Mycroft as them, because it doesn't really interest a lot to us, because we use it essentially as a library. It's just the base that we use to build the rest on top. But you are absolutely right. We should be able to just, and that's what I did. So I am not tied to Mycroft officially. I just really liked it and started looking at the source code. And I've been making pull requests for a long time now. And anyone is free to do that and collaborate. So I think you are right when you say that Mycroft is everyone. So we can and any change that we need. For Big Screen, for example, I and Ix, which is the main developer, Aditya, is also the one working mostly on the Mycroft GUI. So we just keep making pull requests, and we decided that the common play framework needed improvements, and we have been sending pull requests for that.
I don't know if I find this discussion interesting, and I don't know if it's something we can resolve here. I think I understand the concerns of Alesh, if I might intercede. I don't know. It's something that I actually wanted to bring up, and in any kind of social project, where by social I include, we are a cooperative, so when I talk about social projects, one aspect is being a cooperative, and the other aspect is, for example, a free and open source software. You have to have a governance structure in order to govern the digital infrastructure. And for Mycroft, it seems it's the company that has the last word. That's how we understand, which is understandable because they have a product, they probably want to ensure the quality, and they have certain concerns. So just to having it clear, probably, for us also, what do they want? They want to have a product with a priority in English. Okay, so our priority is a bit different, and where can we co-govern, where can we co-organize it, like you were saying, certain projects you can just fork and continue, also respecting the desires of maybe Mycroft. But I guess the concern here is the community doesn't really have much power in the decisions of what Mycroft does. Is it, but it's correct in the end of today, is it true, do you think?
I totally agree with that, and I would wish Mycroft worked in a more open source way in some senses. But I will give you an example. So they have the dev meetings are public, and in the early ones, they started talking about pull requests. I have some code change proposals that I made back in 2017 that were never merged. So I just closed them all, and they are losing work. And maybe I could just fork and start doing that on my own. The also the commonplace stuff that I was talking about that takes forever to be merged is not a priority. There's the multiple wake words. They also did not merge that. No one looked at it, so because it's not a priority for them. And if there is interest, of course, we could all fork and just do it our own way. We have talked with Giz, I have talked, and a few others, about having an experimental branch, which was a branch that the community would control and could merge things whenever we wanted without needing to wait for them. And I will post in the chat a document, which is what we were writing to discuss that. So nothing happened out of it yet, but it has been in talks with the Mycroft team about what we can do to have more agency as part of the community. Another option, and we don't even need their permission if we don't want to, is we can just fork something, call it the community edition. This is something that we have also talked about with the Open Voice OS team. It was us who suggested about that link I posted in there, because I think the community sometimes wants things that Mycroft does not want, and that indeed is a blocker now. But we don't want to split the community, so that's for me that's at least a big concern. But yeah, if it's needed, well, let's do it. We can always fork and do a special of a community branch. There's more people that feel the same on the Mycroft chat, so it's all an option, obviously. So ideally, if that was going to happen, we could also just ask Mycroft to get the repository into their own GitHub organization, so the community stays united in there to work. Because if we just make a fork for Catalan, we will lose all the English developers and so on. So I would rather have everyone working together, especially when we come to talk about packaging. Because when Mycroft gets properly packaged, so in upstream, so you can install it from the command line for Debian, for Fedora, for Red Hat, whatever. Most of the times, there will be some resistance to get our version packaged with the Linux distributions, with the OS itself. That
definitely
might be a concern for some people, not for everyone. But so I just think we are all stronger together.
And that's what we should run after. Forking should always be a last resort kind of business. And I am actually concerned after especially hearing your talk about how it seems like we are creating more of a tool that you can customize and very focused on that rather than to create a product that is ready to be consumed, which is something that I kind of was actually looking forward to, like answers like this is the manual that you have to follow to do this or that, are unacceptable in this regard, right? Like if what we are thinking is let's create products that people can start using, so while translators have motivation to start developing, for example, we need to make sure that well, the questions are simple. There always should be one place where to contribute. There always should be one place where to complain about issues, right? And if the community is so fragmented, even before actually being a famous product, that we cannot even answer these questions right now. I cannot even imagine, like in a year, what it will look like.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. So we need people to know where to complain and where to send their changes. And that is, for me, a reason we should do it under Mycroft repositories if possible. But if there is a point where we think that's just not working out, uh, we should engage the broader community in the discussion. So and see what to do. It seems there is an Iberian team like now getting joined for all the languages, and we can always organize and just publish an image that works for our languages or for each of them. I'm pretty sure that the guys at Open Voice OS will also be happy to hear about it, and they could probably just make an image for us that comes in our languages to burn.
Did you see the question of Kieran?
No, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, so right now the master only expects text, but this is something that might change in the future. So the Hive mind itself is like just a communication protocol. What it does will depend on the components that you have installed. One of the things I want to do later is to have just streaming speech to text to somewhere instead of sending the text. But right now it's early work. It's just done by myself. It's a pet project. More people started contributing, and I hope that there will be some news about that soon. But right now it just works by text, because what it does is send. It's like it connects a separate message bus to the Mycroft message bus. It's just a bridge. So even on Mycroft, the speech client just sends messages to the message bus with the response. So what the HiveMind does, it gets that message there. But right now, it assumes that the speech to text is running on the same device.
So, sorry, I interrupted the discussion. Alesh, were you going to say anything else?
Yeah, no, all good. It's a very boring topic anyway.
It's not boring. It's important, and I'm glad some more people are talking about it.
Well, to maybe summarize and to see if there's if we have a perspective, or at least to define what questions we need to answer. To clarify, Alesh, what you're saying is that we need to have a product, like when we do the localization, it should appear immediately as an option in the product. That's what you mean, right? Rather than having guides to create virtual machines and all that, we should immediately say, now you can buy this and you will have Catalan.
Yeah, I guess that we talked about several things. My first point was, let's make sure that we're not spread around between very specified and fragmented communities, but a big one that is speech, and see how we can work together. Every community in the world right now has people from different interests working on shared code bases, and Mycroft shouldn't be an exception for that, in my opinion. Think, I don't know, Apache, right? Or the Linux kernel. The fact that they have a product shouldn't be a reason to keep people from contributing, or even bully people out of contributing. But on the other hand, we need to have that one place. And the solution for that is just talking. I also mentioned that I think that it would be good to have good auto-contained products that people can acquire and use that don't go through like following big manuals, but just using them without thinking much like we do with Google and Amazon counterparts or a mobile phone. I know that I am from KD, by the way. I don't know if you know. It's something that it's been done by Plasma Big Screen to some extent, although while being from KD, only tried Plasma Big Screen today, and I was slightly underwhelmed by its performance. I think that it's something that, while not being something that you can buy in Fnac or something like that, it's something that you can just do in 2 or 3 steps and be done with it. I think that products like that, I imagine like Chatterbox would be something similar for what I saw on the slides, would be kind of the way to go, because if we have to tell all of our contributors you need to install Fedora and add this PPA or whatever, we're gonna not have them from a start.
Yeah, so I think that would be a good model to follow. That's why I kept mentioning Open Voice OS, because that is just an image, you burn it to an SD card, and it's working. You got Mycroft. So we could easily make one just for Catalan. And Big Screen is another very good example, because you just download their image, even if it uses Mycroft inside. You just download it, burn it, and there you go, it's working. I think that there's a lot of value in just doing the same for a Catalan edition or for any other language. So for that, we will need to decide where, but I definitely think there's a lot of value in having an image that does that. And so that image will just come with the configuration and everything pre-installed. Because Mycroft is very customizable, which is what we have been doing here about how to do it like manually. But I think there is a lot of value in just shipping something ready to use out of the box.
Right. I personally will reach out to the Plasma Big Screen people and see if we can integrate some of that. I, for example, wouldn't see having a Catalan version of it, because I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I kind of feel like the same way that we don't have a Catalan version of our desktop operating system, we don't need to have one for the one for TVs. What we just need to have is a wizard that says, do you want to speak with it in Catalan or in Mandarin? And well, move on.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah.
besides an image, we can also just fork the Mycroft core repository and have it in there ready to use, configure it for Catalan from the start. So that's definitely something that can be done. So even for a desktop user, you will just do
Don't
a
say
git.
fork it.
When I say fork, I say in the sense of Git in GitHub, or just have a mirror. Let's call it a mirror then, because it's all about packaging. So we just need to have the Mycroft core and the configuration in there.
Yeah, if it's about configuring, then yeah, sure.
Okay, so I interrupt because we have already passed the 2 hours. It's very interesting, and I think it shows we have a lot of things to discuss. So there we won't end up with the answers today, but I think we were able to define some of the questions. And Alesh also, I mean, these concerns maybe we can also discuss in the Mycroft chat, which we had also. We also said that we should discuss within the community, so it will be good that other people also see maybe our concerns. So I invite everyone to go to chat .mycroft.ai to join the conversation there. We have a Catalan group, language Catalan, but also we have the language S, which we discuss also with the rest of the community, the Iberian languages. So do you want to add? I see. I don't know. Anyway, so Let's close slowly the session, but if you want to add something also, Alesh, please, before closing.
Yeah, thanks for the work, Casimiro, and everyone here. Having such systems in Catalan and in every language is super important. And I admire all of you. You are my linguistic heroes.
No, thank you for the contributions, Alesh, because people don't know, but in the background we have been talking with him, with the Barcelona Free Software, in order to help with the promotion of the sessions. So they were very kind in propagating the links and the sessions, etc. So they at least for motivation, you have been of big help. Thank you, Angel. We have been talking for a long time, so it's nice to see you here also. Angel is a part of the Mycroft community who had been behind the scenes helping the project. Alish is saying hi. So we are closing the sessions, and thank you again for everyone who has been joining all the sessions. Some of us, for example, Joan has been joining all the sessions. I thank him, and Ignacio also, since we are the smaller petty comité right now. So I thank people one by one a bit. Just to summarize, we will have the videos uploaded to YouTube. You can reach the videos from this link. Also, we have now the configuration files, guides, how to install and how to develop Mycroft. And on top of it, we need to set up the resources which we have gathered during all these sessions to see what we have. During the course of the sessions, we were able to gather by chance, also by external help. We should mention the students of UAB who translated Mycroft. How was it, Joan? The translation department.
Tradumática,
yes. We thank them also. So we have the Mycroft chat now. It's less for the development things, more for the user stuff. And then I'm putting the comments in a discourse run by CopDevs. So if I would suggest, if we want to continue the discussions, first of all, the chat of Mycroft, but for Catalan specific things and for notes that we want them to live on, I suggest the discourse of CopDevs, which I will send everyone with the links. So thank you again, and hope to see you. Ens veiem aviat. Gràcies. Bona nit.
Bye, everyone.
Fins aviat. Bones festes a tothom.
Igualment.